Welcome. Thank you for being here. Whether you are lying in bed, resting on a sofa, or simply closing your eyes for a few quiet minutes, you are in exactly the right place. This is 1 hour of slow British English stories. 3 stories. 3 quiet, real, human moments. Told slowly. Told clearly. Told just for you. There is nothing you need to do. You do not need to write anything down. You do not need to try to remember every word. Simply listen. Relax. And let the English come to you. Your listening is improving right now. Even as you rest. Even as you breathe slowly. Your brain is quietly learning. We have 3 stories tonight. The first is about a man named Martin. A quiet man. A man who helped hundreds of people in a hospital, and was never once thanked. The second is about a woman named Rose. A woman the whole town judged. A woman who was hiding something nobody expected. And the third is about an old man named Arthur. A man with a secret he kept for 35 years. A secret that finally came to light on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Close your eyes if you like. Breathe slowly. And let us begin. Story 1. The NHS porter who secretly helped hundreds of patients. Now, when you hear the word hero, what do you imagine? Perhaps you think of someone famous. A doctor. A firefighter. Someone on television. Someone who receives awards and applause. But what if a real hero worked quietly in the background? What if they helped people every single day? And almost nobody noticed? Today's first story takes place inside a busy British hospital. It is a story about kindness. About hard work. And about one man who believed that helping people mattered. Even when nobody said thank you. His name was Martin Hayes. He had worked at St Anne's Hospital in the north of England for almost 23 years. 23 years. That is a very long time to work in one place. Every weekday morning, Martin woke up at 5:30. He washed his face, made strong tea, and quietly left his small flat before the sun came up. His life followed the same pattern every day. He always walked to the same bus stop. He always bought the same newspaper. And he always arrived at the hospital 20 minutes early. "Morning, Martin," the security guard would say. "Morning," Martin replied. Always with the same gentle smile. Martin was an NHS porter. It was not glamorous work. It was not exciting. Most people barely noticed hospital porters at all. But Martin believed something very simple. If someone is having a bad day, he often thought, I can at least try to make it a little better. Every morning, he walked through the underground corridors beneath the hospital. Long white hallways stretched in every direction. The lights buzzed quietly overhead. Some people thought the hospital basement felt cold and lonely. Martin did not. To him, it simply felt familiar. He collected paperwork from reception. He checked transport requests. Then he started work. And almost every day, it was busy. Very busy. One rainy Tuesday morning, Martin arrived at the children's ward. A young boy sat quietly in a wheelchair near the nurse's desk. He looked about 8 years old. His face was pale. He held a toy dinosaur tightly in his hands. His mother looked worried. Very worried. "You here for Oliver?" a nurse asked. Martin nodded. The boy looked nervous. Right then, Martin said softly, "You and me, Oliver. Fancy a little adventure?" "Adventure?" the boy asked quietly. Martin leaned closer and lowered his voice. "This hospital is full of secret tunnels, you know." Oliver blinked. "Really?" "Oh yes," Martin said seriously. "But only brave people get the special tour." For the first time, the boy smiled. "Only a little. But enough." As Martin pushed the wheelchair through the corridor, he kept talking softly. "See that door over there?" he whispered. "Definitely where dragons live." Oliver laughed. "No, it isn't." "You never know," Martin replied. "Hospitals are full of surprises." Slowly, the fear in the boy's face began to disappear. By the time they reached the scan room, Oliver looked calmer, less frightened. His mother looked at Martin with tired eyes and smiled. "Thank you," she said quietly. Martin simply nodded. No trouble at all. That was the strange thing about Martin. He never stayed for praise. He never waited for compliments. He simply moved on to the next patient. Later that afternoon, he helped an elderly woman named Margaret. She looked confused and frightened. Hospitals can feel scary when you are older. Long hallways, bright lights, unfamiliar faces. Margaret sat alone near a waiting area, holding her handbag tightly. Her hands shook slightly. "I think I'm lost," she whispered. Martin slowed down beside her. "That's all right," he said gently. "You're not lost anymore." He checked her appointment papers. Her daughter had not arrived yet. The correct department was on the other side of the hospital. And Margaret looked close to tears. Martin glanced at his watch. He was busy. Very busy. But something told him to stop. "Would you like me to sit with you for a few minutes?" he asked. Margaret nodded slowly. "Oh, would you mind?" "Not at all," Martin said, sitting beside her. They talked quietly. About the weather. About her old dog. About how confusing hospitals could be. Sometimes helping people did not mean pushing wheelchairs or carrying equipment. Sometimes helping simply meant staying, listening, being patient, being kind. Eventually, Margaret's daughter arrived. "Oh goodness," she said with relief. "Thank you for staying with her." Martin smiled politely. "No problem." Then, just like always, he quietly disappeared down the corridor. Then, one Thursday afternoon, something strange happened. Martin stopped walking in the middle of a hospital corridor. Someone had left a small white envelope on top of his trolley. No stamp. No name. Just 4 handwritten words. "For the man downstairs." Martin frowned. Slowly, he picked it up. Carefully, he opened it. And what he found inside made him stop completely. Inside the envelope was a folded letter. The handwriting looked messy. Perhaps written quickly. Perhaps written by someone emotional. Martin stood quietly in the corridor and began to read. "You probably don't remember me," the letter began. "But 3 years ago, you sat beside my mum when she was frightened and alone. You stayed with her until I arrived." Martin frowned slightly. His mind searched through years of faces. Thousands of patients. Thousands of difficult days. Then suddenly, he remembered. Margaret. The frightened elderly woman. The shaking hands. The small handbag. The worried eyes. He had sat beside her for only a short time. He had nearly forgotten the whole thing. The letter continued. "My mum talked about you for months afterwards. She said the porter with the kind voice treated her like family when she felt frightened." Martin swallowed slowly. The busy sounds of the hospital seemed to disappear around him. "She passed away last year," the letter said. "Before she died, she asked me to find the porter who helped her that day and say thank you properly." Martin looked down. His hands had gone strangely still. He had not expected this. Not at all. At the bottom of the page, one sentence stood alone. Simple. Quiet. But powerful. "The world needs more people like you." For a long moment, Martin simply stood there. He did not know what to say. Or even what to feel. Not sadness. Not happiness. Something deeper than that. Something difficult to explain. Slowly, Martin folded the letter. Very carefully. As if it were something fragile. Then he placed it safely inside his coat pocket. And quietly continued his work. He stopped wondering if his work mattered. Because now, he knew. It did matter. Even when nobody said thank you. Even when nobody noticed. And perhaps that is the strange thing about ordinary people. Sometimes they are not ordinary at all. Sometimes the quietest people are quietly changing lives every single day. Without even realizing it. Let us pause here for just a moment. 3 words from that story to carry with you. The first word is porter. Porter. A porter is a person who moves things and helps people in a building such as a hospital or hotel. Martin was a porter. He moved patients between departments. He carried equipment. He helped people find their way. The second word is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. When something feels too much, too big, too difficult, too emotional, we say we feel overwhelmed. Margaret felt overwhelmed in the hospital. Everything was unfamiliar and confusing. The third word is fragile. Fragile. Something that is fragile breaks easily. Martin held the letter as if it were fragile. As if it were something